Alright, 11.3, the expanded equation of a circle. The objective here, students will be able to identify features of a circle from the expanded form of the equation. What we have down here is the expanded form. If you recall, we said before that the standard should look like this: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. And so where h and k are your center points, and obviously r is your radius. And that's a standard form, but you could tell by looking at this, we do have an x and a y squared, but it's not at all in the same form. So what we want to do is we want to use some algebra techniques to get it to look just like that. Luckily, we've already learned how to do this. So we learned the steps for completing the square a while back. They're in your 3.4 notes. If you do not remember how to complete the square, if it's not super easy for you at this point in time, then you need to go review those notes. Absolutely need to, because it's something we are going to do. It's just a first step of the problem here. In fact, every problem here requires that you complete the square twice. So you really need to go back and take a look at that. But the basics of it, the basic kind of recap is, you just take the b value and you divide it by 2 and then square it. Then you add this to both sides of the equation. So that's how you decide how much to add. But now we're dealing with x and y's. We're going to do it twice. So let me show you the first example. Alright, one of the first things I like to do is just get the 17 on the other side. So I'm just going to add 17 to both sides. That's because it's the lone number, the number that's all by itself. Notice there's variables and everything else. But I'm just going to add 17 to the other side. So I know I have a 17 over here. Then I'm going to group the x's together, and I'm going to group the y's together. So let's make this x squared plus 4x, and then over here we can make this y squared minus 4y. And now I've accounted for all the terms, and I have an equation here that's true. Notice I'm leaving a little bit of space. That's because I'm about to complete the square. So over here, first thing I do, I look at my b value. It's 4. Not 4x, it's 4. It's the number in front of just the x. I divide it by 2, so 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then I square it. 2 squared is 4. So I'm going to add 4. I'm going to also add 4 over here. Same thing over here. The b value now is negative 4. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is also 4. So I'm going to add another 4 and add another 4. Notice what happens. By doing that pattern, which again is in your 3.4 notes, and I've recapped for you right up here, what you've done is you've turned this into a perfect square. These now follow this pattern. And so that means you could write this as a plus b squared. And so we're going to do that here. Only now your a in this first one is x, so I can write this as x. And the b, it's a different kind of b here. This b is different than the b I'm talking about. But it's just whatever you got from this number when you divide it by 2. Or whatever you got here before you squared it. So it's just 2. And then you just put in parentheses and square it. And now if you were to FOIL this back out or box method this back out, you'd end up with exactly this. So that's how you know you did it right. Plus, this would be y minus 2 squared. Because, right, negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And then we would just say equals, well, 17 plus 4 and 4, so that's 8. 17 and 8 is 25. And so now we've got it in standard form, which means that your center is at the opposites. Remember, these are the opposites. It's the opposites because, like I said up here, it's x minus h and y minus k. So the center is negative 2, positive 2, and the radius, remember, this is the radius squared, so you could kind of think of this as 5 squared. So the radius is 5. And there, now we have taken this nasty expanded form, converted it to standard, and found the center and the radius. Not too bad if you know how to complete the square. So on practice number 2, I want you to do the same thing. Again, I'm going to just let you guys work on it. You'll pause the video and then you'll check your work when you're done. Alright, so first I put the 15 on the other side. I just added it to the other side. And then I split the x's and the y's, put them together. I noticed 6 divided by 2 is 3, 3 squared is 9, negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5 squared is 25, so I added that to both sides. 15 and 9 and 25, that makes 49. Here, this creates a perfect square of x plus 3, this creates a perfect square of y minus 5. So there's your center. It's the opposite of these values, so it's negative 3, positive 5. And it's a radius of 7. That's all there is to it. Pretty straightforward. So now in example 2 and practice 2, all they want you to do is to graph this. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll do the example 2 with you guys. So we're going to first plot our center. It's at negative 2, 2. Now I'm going to do it in blue. So negative 2, 2 is right here because it's back 2, up 2. And it said that the radius is 5. And remember, when the radius is 5, we can make a whole bunch of 3, 4, 5 triangles. It works out real nice to graph it perfectly. So let's go ahead and do that. First, let's do to the right, up, to the left, and down. And then we can go over 3 and down 4, or over 4 down 3, or over back 4 down 3, or back 3 down 4, and the same thing. And again, this is not something you have to do. It just helps you make a nice perfect circle, or as perfect as it could be. Okay, that's all there is to it, right? I just drew the center in, I graphed the radius. It's pretty simple. So why don't you guys go ahead and try practice number 2 on your own. Okay, this one's not as easy to get perfect, but that's okay, just as long as you got some main points here. We graphed the center at negative 3, positive 5. I went to the right 7, I went down 7. I tried to go to the left 7, I tried to go up 7, but obviously it's off the graph, so I can't really do it perfectly. And I just connect it to try and make the best circle I can. That's really all there is to it, guys. It's pretty simple stuff. See you guys in the next video.